Good evening, gamers, and welcome to the channel. My name is Gut, and today I've got a slightly different video than usual. Today, I'd like to chat about the recent user survey that Jagex posted, and that is causing so much chaos. Please add your thoughts in the comments below. I'm just one player in the vast community of OSRS players, and I certainly don't have it all figured out, but I'd like to try to connect some of the thoughts and changes that have been happening to this recent user survey and keep the conversation going, because it's I feel just like a duty as a player and as a member of this community, and albeit a small content creator in this community, I feel this duty to speak up and kind of educate any players in the community that don't know what's going on at all. If you're new to the channel, I appreciate you checking it out, and I hope you consider subscribing. All right, let's get into it. First off, I want to start by saying this video will be entirely based on my opinions. None of this is set in stone or is set to be implemented into the game yet. Again, none of what you're about to hear has been greenlit for implementation yet. I hope you're staying in tune enough with the OSRS community to already have some idea of what's going on, but if you haven't heard the news, Jagex recently shared a user survey to gather feedback on some ideas and potential changes they've been concocting. These changes are mainly centered around adding various tiers of membership at different pricing. Each tier would have different features, such as an increased AFK timer, increased access to Jagex customer support, a mobile-only account, secure account name transferring, but probably most devastating of all was to see a membership to avoid advertisements, meaning advertisements would probably be coming to the game, which is ridiculous. So if alarm bells aren't going off in your head right now, it's time for you to initiate the kick and wake up from this level of inception, because this is ludicrous. History repeats itself. We saw this same sort of shit happen as Old School Runescape originally had evolved via the evolution of combat and, squeal of fortune and all this pay to win microtransactions hit Old School into becoming RS3. As the title of the video states, I'm taking this more as a warning letter, a warning of what's to potentially come our way if we don't stand our ground and vocalize and really put up a fight against these changes. Again, my goal here is not to repeat what other content creators are already talking about. Instead, I'm going to hopefully connect some of these changes that they're talking about to some previous changes that Jagex has already made. And to start that, we need to take our journey back to when Jagex started pushing us to accessing RuneScape via the Jagex launcher application. Jagex pitched us on this being a better method and more secure account access, and the ability to quickly switch between multiple accounts that are stored in the application. Sure, I'll buy that. But at the same time, Jagex has tightened their grip around the player base by making all other channels of accessing RuneScape restricted. While I'm not certain if all the other channels are completely cut off yet, I do believe Jagex will make those channels completely closed. So data point 1, Jagex controls all access channels to the game. Now let's fast forward a bit to when Jagex pitches us Project Xanaris. They pulled in all of our favorite creators to really sell this one. Settled, Frame, just to name a few. Each of these creators have challenged what it means to play Old School RuneScape, creating their own restrictions and challenges using the vanilla OSRS code, with some assistance from the RuneLite plugins. It's made for some of the most entertaining gaming content on YouTube today. I mean, Settled Swampletics series is still gaining millions of views, and it had ended, 6 years ago. With Project Xanaris, Jagex is aiming to set up community servers where players will be able to rent separate servers from Jagex. These servers can be customized to create brand new gameplay experiences. To me, this is an attempt to end all, let's say, non-sanctioned private servers. Jagex even went as far as issuing legal notices to over 40 private server owners. While they're well within their legal rights to do so, this was a mistake for Jagex, as they're punishing the same player base that they'd be entertaining with Project Xanaris. This move creates less competition, and even more control over the player base for Jagex. Data point 2, Jagex eliminates competition and drives out private servers. Now let's review. With all other non-Jagex provision servers being shut down and all accounts funneling through the Jagex launcher, they have firmly grasped our throats. So while the recent tiered membership pricing model and other monetization proposals have been met with serious backlash from the community, so much so that Jagex has already taken down the user survey and their CEO has issued a apology, if you could call it that. It didn't really claim any, accountability, and just really is more like, I'm sorry that we put our plans out there for you all to see. Just ridiculous. I feel like Jagex has steadily been strengthening their control over the user base with these other updates that they've made under the guise of them making the game more secure or more fun, I guess, with Project Xanaris. Old School Runescape has found its success because enough players had been so turned off by these similar types of changes that it evolved the original game into what is now RS3. So I feel like history is repeating itself. If they make these changes, eventually I feel like they've been steadily building this grip on us that, even with us making videos like this and Reddit posts and riding out in Falador, like eventually those words are going to have no weight, because at the end of the day, Jagex and CVC, the private equity firm that owns them, is running a business. They look at all these other gaming industry competitors that have microtransactions, membership fees already up there, and DLC and all that sort of stuff, and they see Old School RuneScape there. Now I would say cash cow. I mean, we saw during leagues that Old School RuneScape smashed a new world record of concurrent users since its original launch. So I gotta believe that they're looking at RS3 in one hand and saying the player base is dying out and we're pumping all the money we can out, yet there's so much untapped potential with the Old School RuneScape community. Let's start seeing what we can get out of them with this little microtransactions and monetization and advertisements that we can. And if we don't stand our ground and we don't make these opinions of ours voiced, I fear that they'll continue down this path. So now I'm not saying that this community does a poor job of it, but it's up to us, the player community, to continue thinking critically and challenging these changes Jagex is making time and time again, and raising our voices when they don't align with our ideals. I mean, all of us have come back to this game because it has some potentially nostalgic factor, but the amount of game you get for how much you can get in free to play, even, or if you're willing to pay $10 or $12 a month for membership, the game is almost endless. The amount of entertainment per, let's say, cost is just through the roof, and we really enjoy that. And to see it start taking a turn towards that microtransaction and basically pay to win road, and it's just really sickening, honestly. But like I said, let's keep our voices heard. That's the whole reason I'm making this video. Like, I'm feeling very strongly about it, and I want to make sure that I put out whatever I can about this to educate people, raise the alarm bell, and get more folks on board with standing up, because our voices have been heard for the most part throughout the history of this game. They do listen to us, but I'm concerned that at this point they're herding us up like sheep, and they're just trying to get us to a point where they've got so much control around us that we don't have alternatives. You know what I mean? It's disgusting what they're trying to do with RuneLite. They're stripping that out and saying, oh, maybe if you pay a higher tier, we'll give you access to RuneLite. They didn't even make RuneLite. They didn't even make it. And I'd argue RuneLite is probably the reason a lot of us came back to the game. If we were still back on the original user interface, my eyes would have gone crisscrossed a long time ago. So it's just totally tone deaf. I feel like, and it's just sickening too. Like, when you think about, they had not a JMod, none of the devs, nobody pitching this. They had some intern, I believe, that went to slaughter. They had him go up on this video and just saying the most disgusting shit we've ever heard in recent years, I'll say. So, and then you'll notice on the blog post, none of the JMods that we're familiar with signed that. It just was the Old School RuneScape team, which is really odd to me. So there's a lot of things going on, but you gotta remember, at the end of the day, they're a business and they're trying to run it like a business. It's just totally tone deaf with this player base and why we're all here and why we hold on to Old School RuneScape so tightly. And what's made it so good is because this player base does have a voice and does get to vote on the future of this game. So all I'm asking and trying to do with this video is to promote us, the player base, to lean into that voice and keep advocating for ourselves, because no one else will. No one else will. They're trying to run a business over there. Some of the team is obviously trying to run a business over there. So please keep up what we're doing and letting CBC and Jagex know that we're not going to stand for these changes at all. As mentioned before, I'd love to hear your take on the situation in the comments below. I've had people reach out and ask me if I'm going to remove my membership subscription. I know other friends have already started to do that. I think I might remove one of my accounts. I have a couple accounts, and God forbid they implement these changes, I'd be paying through the roof to have multiple accounts that they so sneakily promoted us to merge into the Jagex launcher. They have visibility to all my accounts in one spot and can charge me whatever they need to. They're handcuffing us, but I'm starting to digress again. But yeah, I'm considering removing membership, at least on one of my accounts, probably my main account, just to send a message. Yeah, let me know what you're thinking in the comments below, and I hope the situation gets better. But I'm not hopeful after the weak response we got, an apology, if you can even call it that, apology letter that they sent out earlier today. Again, I'll link all the articles if they're still up. I know they already took the user survey down, but I'll link the articles and apology letter in the description below. I'd really, really love to hear what you think. And if you have any thoughts on it, please leave a comment and let's keep the conversation going. And I appreciate y'all. And we'll see you in the next one.